Burt Reynolds is Gator, and inside of 10 minutes, he's going to destroy 14 boats.
I lost count, but
it was a lot.
He's going to wreck dozens of cars.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say it's dozens, definitely.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Blow up a motel.
Oh, remember?
He's going to drag a man around a parking lot and throw him off the top of his car.
That happens, yeah, I remember.
All that happens, yeah.
That definitely all happens. That's a good trailer.
This trailer's highlighting all of the good aspects of this film right here. That's how you sell it right there.
It doesn't mention that he's going to carry a cat around for Alice Ghostley.
No.
Or wear a sweater with Lauren Hutton.
Which that may sell a movie too, though.
It would. It's a different movie that they're selling. Here's how Burt Reynolds himself sells this movie in another trailer for Gator.
For my first film as a director, I didn't want to make just another Burt Reynolds movie. I wanted to make a serious film about close personal relationships. I wanted to avoid sex.
You charmed the shirt right off my back.
I wanted to stay away from violence. I didn't want any wild chasing. No hair-raising stunts. No fight scenes. I want to make a film about quiet times in the country. And the little things that make life worthwhile. But United Artists didn't want to make that picture. So we made Gator instead.
Gator McClusky? Now, we know you in there. We coming to get you, Gator.
That's perfect, Burt Reynolds, because it gets to be charming and self-deprecating and also self-pitying and gets to cement his public image himself while also kicking against it and ribbing the studio while giving them exactly what they want. That's Gator, the 1976 film starring Burt Reynolds, his directorial debut. Jackie, do you like Gator?
I like Gator. Yeah, I got some issues with it we'll get to, but I like it overall, yeah.
Well, you know what I got here, Jackie?
Let's say it.
It's Burt Reynolds' 1994 autobiography, My Life.
Ooh, I bet that's good.
Oh, it is, if you want to hear him cuss John Avildsen.
Who?
So, Burt Reynolds talking about making Gator his directorial debut. He says, I got a shot at directing for the same reason all the very bankable actors get a shot. I was hot.
Yeah.
The same guys who produced White Lightning, the popular Moonshine picture we did together 3 years earlier, wanted to make Gator a low-budget sequel, but the only way I'd agree to play good old boy whiskey runner Gator McClusky again, and the only way they could afford me, was to also let me get behind the camera. But it's on the next page, Jackie, that I think he addresses some of the problems we have with Gator. Are you speaking of maybe its confusing tonal shifts?
Oh, yeah.
And how it seems to become a different movie about halfway through?
Yeah, just changes altogether.
Well, Burt Reynolds says that from action to comedy to ethnic humor, that explains all the Jew jokes, I made sure I tried it all in my directorial debut. Jackie, you know what I have here?
What's that?
Stuntman Hal Needham's autobiography.
Oh, yeah, Hal Needham. I bet that's good, too.
It's real good. He talks about how, because Burt Reynolds, his buddy, was directing this movie, he let him put a rocket in a boat.
Yeah.
And he says that rocket, he jumped. One time I made a quick U-turn and hit the rocket full power. He's talking about having a rocket in a boat.
Yeah.
It was so strong it blew a hole in the water so deep I couldn't see the shore, afraid I was going to be swamped. I just held the firing button down, but the water became a ramp, and the rocket shot me out of the hole and 50 or 60 feet through the air. That's fun to make movies.
I guess that's what a rocket's supposed to do. You know, if anybody knows how to tie a rocket to a boat, it's Hal Needham.
Yep, and he only got to do it because Burt Reynolds, his friend, let him do it. That's friendship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hal Needham also says later in the movie, Jerry Reed playing the heavy.
Boy, is it heavy.
Good downplaying one of America's greatest screen performances. Was escaping in a pickup truck when Burt jumped in the back. As the truck sped away, Burt climbed onto the running board and was fighting with Reed through the window for control. I took over, doubling Burt. The truck approached an embankment. It leapt into the air and started to turn over. I tried to jump clear, but my momentum was the same as the truck's, and we landed within inches of each other. Folks, That's a long-winded way of saying he nearly got his fucking head crushed by a truck.
Watch your mouth. But yeah, that's true, and it's in the movie.
You
get to see it. Yep. That's almost over for him.
It was very close to seeing Needham Brains. And Burt, as a director, it was his choice whether or not to leave in the death of a close friend of his. Luckily, he didn't have to make that choice.
Yeah, that's good.
And, of course, Jackie, you realize that we're standing here at the crux of history where Burt Reynolds was playing a transitionary figure, Gator McClusky, from Old South to New. And we sort of see it happen here. We see Burt Reynolds, the transitionary figure, transition himself, becoming the late 70s Burt Reynolds, as opposed to the early 70s White Lightning and Deliverance Burt Reynolds. But also interesting is that Burt Reynolds went to Florida Governor Reuben Askew and asked him, hey, I want to make some movies in Florida. And Reuben Askew, like a dumbass, said, your movies suck. Burt Reynolds went to Georgia Governor Jimmy Carter, where he made several films thanks to America's most 70s president, America's beigest president.
That almost makes up for all the terrible decisions he made while he was president. Letting Burt Reynolds make Gator in Georgia kind of gives us almost a wash for Jimmy Carter, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Jimmy Carter's sort of a transitionary figure from Old South to New South himself. He became governor of Georgia after Lester Maddox. You remember Lester Maddox, Jackie?
Yeah.
Lester Maddox is governor of Georgia who became governor of Georgia, riding a wave of popularity after he chased black people out of his restaurant with axe handles. So that's Lester Maddox, governor before Jimmy Carter, and then Jimmy Carter becomes governor of Georgia, lets Burt Reynolds come in and make movies that sort of celebrate this sort of New South, still rugged, still working things out.
A lot of problems going on still,
but still we're getting better. Things are getting better, and I wonder if that image of the New South helped propel Jimmy Carter to the presidency in 1976. Yes, Jackie, I'm asking, is it possible that Burt Reynolds himself and these movies that we love are the reason that Jimmy Carter became America's president?
I don't know if that's above my pay grade to figure that out, but you could see it's a hand-in-hand. It's a mutual relationship. Something's working out for both of them, I'll say that.
So, 1976 Gator, directed by Burt Reynolds, also stars Alice Ghostley from TV's Bewitched.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Weston, star of stage and screen. Lauren Hutton. Smiley is played by Burton Gilliam.
Oh, yeah.
From Blazing Saddles and Paper Moon.
You'll recognize him, yeah. He's been in a lot of things.
TV car commercials. And, of course, the best thing about this movie is superstar actor Jerry Reed.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
This was, I believe, his third screen appearance. Before this, he'd also starred with Burt Reynolds in WW and the Dixie Dance Kings.
Yeah.
And before that, well, we should have known. Because you know the old saying, if you can hold your own with animals and children,
then you about as good an actor as there is, yeah.
And we all remember, of course, perhaps the most classic Jerry Reed performance.
All right, gang, I got my guitar back. So, lean back and listen to me rehearse.
I think we'll have to beg off, Jer. If I don't get something to eat, I'll just pass out.
Yeah, pass out.
Okay, gang, y'all go get something to eat. But don't forget, now, tomorrow at the show, you're going to be my guest. I'm going to have you the best seats in the house, right up front. That's the least I could do.
Pretty Mary Sunlight, she's all right with me. Pretty Mary Sunlight, she's everything I need. Pretty Mary Sunlight.
Hey there, everybody. My name's Jackie Bros.
And I'm Dunlap. Welcome to Redneck Matinee.
Let's talk about Gator.
Right turn, Clyde.
What they're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Redneck Matinee.
Ain't gonna hurt.
You got the one snowman of eastbound and down.
Jackie.
Yeah.
Gator.
Oh, yeah.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Burt Reynoldsy.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-70s Burt Reynolds.
Yep.
Pre-Smokey and the Bandit.
Right before it, yeah.
Post White Lightning.
Yeah. It's part 2, White Lightning. It's the Adventures of Gator McClusky part 2, essentially, yeah.
Crazy car wreck, stunt, death-defying, swamp chases.
Yeah.
Shooting, punching.
Yeah.
Crashing.
There's some crashing in it. There's some, good boat crashing in it, yeah.
Tire squalling.
A lot of that. A lot of just fisticuffs, fighting. Here, there's some gun shooting.
Shooting a jukebox.
Yep.
Breaking bottles against people's heads.
They're breaking bottles, breaking windows, breaking, you name it. Yeah.
What did you think of this movie?
Well, all that part we just talked about.
Good.
Yeah. All of that part was as good as any. Here we go. It's a Gator White Lightning 2. It's about to happen now. And then they start getting little signs that something doesn't seem quite like White Lightning. It doesn't seem right. And you see little signs here and there, and then there's a part where it just turns into another movie. We'll get to that when we get to it, but yeah.
So you're saying that this movie, the parts that are Burt Reynolds, Gator, White Lightning 2, fist hitting, wall breaking,
right,
window shaking,
all of that,
car chasing.
Yes.
That's all great.
I liked it, yeah.
And then there's parts that seem like a prequel to the Four Seasons.
Something ain't right about it. I don't need just like a different movie. Like, why am I watching this?
This is the movie where we see Burt Reynolds fight for his own soul.
He loses, we should say. It's still a good movie. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from watching it, but you'll see what we're talking about.
We're going to walk you through beat by beat in this movie, and we're going to go through all the great parts and all the fun we had, and we're going to go, yeehaw!
Well, yeah.
And then we're going to say, this is weird here, and this is where Burt Reynolds loses the fight for his own soul.
Right. It doesn't. It kind of comes back here and there, but it's after this movie, from here on out, you can see that things are different.
We can show you right where it happens in this, and we will.
We'll get to it. I tell you. Well, first off, when the movie starts out, let's first strike against old good Burt Reynolds, White Lightning Burt Reynolds, mustache. You got to point that out.
Yeah, there's something about the mustache.
Yeah.
That when he has the mustache, what are two of his best actings? Is White Lightning and Deliverance.
Yeah.
No mustache.
No mustache on that. So right off the bat, you're dealing with Burt, not right off the bat, but you kind of, you're dealing with Burt Reynolds, mustache Burt Reynolds, yeah.
So the very first thing you hear in this movie as the movie opens, before you even see the mustache.
Before he comes in, yeah.
Is Dixie being played by a marching band.
Yep.
As Jack, and you're like, oh, Dixie, what's happening? And then you see Jack Weston marching up the steps of the Georgia State Capitol, and you're like, oh, maybe he's going for something.
Well, I like Jack Weston. He's funny, as it could be in this, yeah.
Then you have Mike Douglas, TV's Mike Douglas, as the governor of Georgia.
Now, supposedly Burt Reynolds did this as a favorite. Old Mike Douglas always wanted to be the actor or something, and Burt Reynolds said, well, I'm going to put him in this, give him a shot.
This is where the movie seems a little slick Hollywoody right around here when you have Mike Douglas as the governor of Georgia.
Yeah.
I bought, Jackie, because we have a podcast, I bought Mike Douglas's book.
Right. Does he discuss?
Nope.
No. Well, I'm sure there's something interesting in that.
It's full of incredible anecdotes.
That's another podcast we can do down the road.
Mike Douglas. But he does not talk, that I could find, I did not see him address being the governor of Georgia in Gator.
Well, one of the first things to do to try to set him apart, Mike Douglas ain't Southern, but they throw in a little what do you call it? Anti-Semitic? Is that it? Yeah.
There's a few weird Jewish jokes in this, and they start right out of the gate where Mike Douglas... it's like, you brought a New York Jew down here? Like,
yeah. He almost says a derogatory term, but they cut him off just in time. Well, Jewish man enters the room.
Yeah, they don't say the word, but they just like, what's a Jew doing down here?
Yeah, she said, Mike Douglas, he ain't Southern, but then we're going to bring in a New York Jewish man, then Mike Douglas looks a little,
Burt Reynolds like, I'm going to put Mike Douglas in this, and I'm going to have him be like, just hate Jews.
Well, hopefully that wasn't him in real life. That's, that's acting
It'd
for
be
you.
hard for him to be as successful in show business as he was.
If it was, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he's just acting a part, then that's different, yeah. Actors have to play bad guys all the time. Although Governor doesn't seem in this case to be the bad guy. Is that the good side? I never can understand these. Well, it's not meant to be understood. Same with White Lightning, same in here with Gator. There's something they have in common. There's not one, both sides. If you're working for the law, you're a rat for the law like you was in White Lightning, and this one sort of too. The law's bad, but then also the bad is bad. So in the first one, the law was bad, but they also put him on the job to fight the bad law.
Yeah, Gator, if there was a Gator 3, it would have been amusing to see how they found a way to make him a Fink again. In this one, in the first one, he wants to get his brother's killer in White Lightning. In this one, they're going to get his daddy. He's been to jail twice, and then they pick up his daddy.
Yep. It's not his daddy in the original one. His daddy in this one is Skater from White Lightning.
This isn't even, let's talk about this. This isn't even the same Gator. He's got a mustache, first of all.
Yeah.
I don't think that other Gator would have been caught dead in a mustache.
That
Earth 1 Gator would not have a mustache.
No.
Earth 2 Gator has a mustache, does weird Groucho Marx flirting with Lauren Hutton. Earth 1 Gator's daddy wore a hat and overalls and lived in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Earth 1 Gator is from fucking Arkansas,
Watch
and this
him
is Georgia Gator. Georgia
Watch him
Gator is different from Earth 1 Arkansas Gator.
This Gator's out in the swamp. Yeah.
Gator, Arkansas Gator has a mama.
Yep. No mama in this one. But also in White Lightning, Gator does not have any children. It is not mentioned or brought up, whereas in Gator, suddenly now he has what he says later on to be a 9-year-old daughter, but she looks about 14.
His daddy is Dude's daddy from White Lightning.
Yeah, but he's playing his daddy. And he's Skater in that one, but in this one, like he's just Papa Gator, I guess. Daddy Gator, whatever.
Different daddy, no mama, suddenly a daughter, lives in swamps in Georgia instead of fields in Arkansas. The one thing that this Gator and the other Gator have in common is that everybody knows if you're trying to get a local crime boss, you can get Gator McClusky, famous rat Fink, to come in and betray everything he stands for by turning them in. Working with them undercover and turning them in. And so they go to mustachioed Burt Reynolds. They call in damn Jack Weston from New York. He says, these crackers need help. I'm going down there. I'm Jewish. I know Mike Douglas hates Jews, but I'm going to say, get us Gator McClusky, and we can get Bama McCall. You can run for president, and no one will ever know that you're a secret Nazi, because we all know that Nazis could never get elected president.
Well, yeah.
So, cut to Jerry Reed singing Gator, another swamp song.
Yeah.
He had a big swamp song before. What's the name of that swamp song?
What is it?
Amos Moses.
Amos Moses is in the swamp, and then this one is a good swamp. This is not quite as good as Amos Moses, but I tell you what, I never did think that I like this song a whole lot, but hearing it again, I'm like, that's an underrated Jerry Reed song.
Smokey and Okie Finoki.
Yeah, it's pretty good. There's good stuff in it. But, yeah, you hear that music come up, and you see a line of police cars that go back for miles and miles. They all got their rifles out like they know they're going to mess with somebody tough if they got that many people out there, which they got a bunch. And then they got a bunch of boats out there. They're going to get Gator. Yeah.
Now, the trailer says that Gator is going to destroy 14 boats in this side of 10 minutes. We tried counting. It's hard to tell. Like, well, does that boat count? That boat just kind of got sidelined.
Yeah. I don't know, destroyed. Yeah, some things. Now, some definitely did. Yeah, get sunk.
They destroy a bunch of boats. We cannot verify if he destroys 14 boats in under 10 minutes.
I can't put a number to it.
We tried.
We did try, and I don't know. I say, is that the same boat we were looking at a little while ago? It's still, I don't know.
So Jerry Reed's singing about Gator. You see the cops lined up. You meet his alternate Earth father and daughter, and you'd be like, why is Gator in a swamp? But that's where he lives in this one. So The cops are getting ready to get him, but don't you worry. They let us know that he has a jet. He has a rocket in this boat. They bring it up. Gator's boat that he's about to run from the cops in has a rocket or a jet.
It's fast, and it does a lot. And that scene when he gets to running, he says, he tells his daddy and his daughter, see you later or whatever. But then when he gets in this thing, that's Burt Reynolds doing that. He takes off in that damn boat too, don't he? I mean, you see him, it ain't no stuntman just yet. And he drives that thing pretty fast, I have to say.
And he's great at looking over his shoulder. That comes up a lot in this movie. This is probably the best looking over his shoulder.
I don't
movie.
think there's another actor, living or dead, that can turn around in a car or a boat, either looking what's behind him or either trying to back up. There's no one who can do that more natural than Mr. Burt Reynolds. He's the best at it. I dare someone to show me a clip of somebody doing better than him. I don't think it exists. I don't think so.
So this is a really good. If you want to see what Gator's about, watch this swamp. The first 10, 15 minutes are just like Gator running a rocket boat around the damn swamp.
Yep. Getting chased. Helicopters, boats crashing. This is all good. This is classic.
Fighting other boats, fighting helicopters, punching people, punching them into the water, punching people, putting them on a rope ladder.
Yeah.
Real good.
It's all good, yeah. But then they just eventually catch him, I guess.
No, he goes home. He runs him around.
That's right. They think they got him, and he kicks him. That's when he puts him on the ladder and get
Let
on.
me tell you something. If I were a lot of people, I would be a little put out by this. Well, he just went home after we did this. Like maybe one of the cops he punches, or maybe Sidney Greenfield who keeps getting wet. Poor Jack Weston.
Yeah.
But I think especially if I were the poor black fisherman who's just sitting there fishing, dozing off.
Yeah. Minding his own business.
His own business. Here's the rocket boat coming. So, here comes old Gator. And I think he knows something's up because he changes his position on the little.
Well, if he
dock.
hadn't done that, he'd be dead. Yeah, he got up. He heard the boat coming and got up out of the way.
Gator jumps over the dock for this poor fisherman and clears it because he's got a jet in his boat. They never explain why. I guess he uses it for moonshine.
Moonshine running. You run it in the car, you run it in the boat. Yeah.
And then the cop boat goes right through the shack.
Yeah,
the shack of the poor old
it's a good scene, and it's a good action scene, but you do kind of feel bad. Like, well, he didn't do nothing.
And then, of course, they need a shot of the poor black guy going, that's some Gator. Good for you, Gator, wrecking my house. But I think if he found out that later, Gator just come home after running around the swamp all day, like, I'll just see if any cops are back at the old, there's Jack West. I'd be like, well, what'd you ruin my house for?
Yeah.
Now, maybe it's just a fishing shack. Maybe he didn't live there. But still, like, fishing shacks don't grow on trees. Like, did you get away from the cops? Did you make it to, like, the next county? Did you go down to Mexico? Or did you... I came on home.
And that's where they get him. Yeah.
That's where they're
waiting for him, yeah. He just decides... Seems like if you wanted to get away, you did a good job getting away from a helicopter, which was difficult. Getting away from... Lord knows we lost count how many boats. And then afterwards... just go back home.
Hey, you get tired. I'm not saying running from the cops.
He could have stayed at a hotel, a motel somewhere, to turn around and go back home. If he was worried about his daddy and his daughter, he should have known they were going to get them anyway, unless he put them in the boat with him.
That's a pretty good scene when the daughter and the damn father are being held up by the FBI guys, and they push one of the FBI guys in the water, and the daughter bites one, and they still seem to be doing okay.
Yeah, they're doing all right, yeah.
That's white privilege.
Well, a little bit, yeah.
Old coot privilege.
Yeah.
Swamp privilege.
Yep. I'd say that, yeah.
Some of that, all that probably.
Jack Weston's sitting up waiting for him. Burt Reynolds comes on back, not, like I guess he was tired. He run from place all day, and come over and then Jack Weston lays out the plan for him because Burt Reynolds, Gator had just got out. He served like 26 months, I think, just got out. So we're going to put you right back in there.
We'll put your daddy in there.
Put your daddy in there, put your daughter in the orphanage, and And the reason they want Gator for this job is because he used to be buddies back, high school, I guess?
He went to school with Bama McCall.
Bama McCall, who they're trying to get, and they said, well, we'll get him to, rat fink on him. And
it's always about taxes. He's got to do some snooping. The thing about these where you're trying to get crime bosses for taxes is there's always a scene where you're trying to go through records or you're snooping around Big Bear's
It's
house.
a waste of time, too, because nothing ever gets done with it.
They wind up just killing them or punching them out on the beach.
Yeah, I don't know why you have to go down, which is fine if you like numbers or want to see, them break in the filing cabinets. That's, at least they do it interestingly in this. We'll get to that later.
If you go back to White Lightning and he spends his whole movie like he's trying to snoop around and get the goods on, but Ned Beatty killed his brother. He's going to kill Ned Beatty.
Kill him, yeah. He wasn't going to get no.
Send him to a white-collar prison he's going to kill Ned Beatty. So I don't know why they spent all this time him looking for receipts.
Didn't he just say he tried to seduce that woman in White Lightning, and that was the end of it there, right? She didn't let him in there. She knew better. And then he didn't try to get no papers anymore after that.
I guess to Burt Reynolds, sneaking around papers means that you're trying to sleep with people.
Well, that's what it looked like, yeah.
Which it's better than looking through records. Let's be honest.
As far as movies concerned,
he needed a little no means no back in White Lightning.
Yeah.
But if you're having if the choice is hot consensual sex or snooping around the office looking for receipts to get Ned Beatty for some back taxes stuff, you do sex.
Well, as far as that kind of movie and entertaining people, yeah, that's what you want, yeah.
So he makes a deal with Jack Weston. Then we meet Jerry Reed.
Oh, yeah. Well, we get a little bit of banter. Do we meet Jerry Reed right there when they go riding? He's in the car with this one. And the last time they got him a car, it was just him and White Lightning. Here's your car. And go to work. And he takes his tie off. And does all this great acting. It's real good. This time they just stick Jack Weston in the car with him.
They just improvise and drive over a few bridges.
Yeah.
Not as good. Not as good as that first.
No.
Burt Reynolds gunning that engine and freedom and throwing his. It's just them talking
Just
about.
them talking.
And some more anti-Jewish jokes.
Yeah, a few in there. Yeah. Still
a
doing that.
few weirdly.
Now, Jack Weston, I like Jack Weston. He does a fine job in this, but he is not. Burt Reynolds has not found Dom DeLuise yet. He's doing with this fat, funny man. And they're okay together. Well, not in this, what you're talking about. They're not really good together, I'll just say that. But he don't get hit. He don't slap him. But Jack Weston just ain't quite Dom DeLuise.
But who is?
That's true. That's true there.
But Dom DeLuise in a swamp is a Muppet movie. Jack Weston in a swamp is Gator.
Yeah.
When you meet Jerry Reed in this movie, it is one of the all-time great scenes in any of these movies that we're going to talk about on Redneck Matinee. They say Martin Scorsese is great at introducing people, but this is one of the great introducing scenes in cinematic history.
It blows away all this fancy Martin Scorsese, this camera moving around. You just move that camera right in on Jerry Reed, and good Lord Almighty, yeah.
Starts out, you see his henchman Bones, his gigantic henchman Bones.
Which we should say now, originally for that role was going to be Richard Keel. Remember, he's James Bond Jaws. Not Shark Jaws, James Bond Jaws, Richard Keel. He was supposed to do this role, supposedly, and then he got busy and couldn't do it, and he suggested this actor that plays Bones, who's also a big, giant man, so he got him the job because he couldn't do it.
I guess they're friends.
It must be, I guess, people that size that spend time with one another. Well, of course you would if you go and do an audition for giants. I guess they're all there, yeah.
So he's so big he has to drive a convertible and stick his head out the roof.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Bones, it's who's coming because you see Bones' head, shoulders and head. He got his whole chest out. I mean, that's how big this man is. He's a giant, yeah.
So Jerry Reed goes over to the South Side Shuffle Disco. You see Smiley get out. Smiley, a great actor. He's in a million things.
You'll recognize him mainly from probably Blazing Saddles.
You recognize that. That's pretty good. I don't know if this is his first major role, but they're already calling him Smiley. You can just call him Smiley and everything you see him in.
Yeah, he pretty much does the same thing, but it's always funny what he does, yeah. On his end anyway, I guess, yeah.
So Jerry Reed gets out. You see a girl on a swing at this topless disco. He meets Miss Palatka from 1973.
Oh, yeah. What's a pretty little thing like you doing in a place like this? Yeah, he's sweet talking. He needs to play more bad guys, and I don't know how many bad guys he played, but I want to see every movie that Jerry Reed plays a bad guy, and I don't know if there's anybody better.
Jerry Reed comes in, you're like, well, he looks badass. Has a lot of great outfits in this. But is he really tough? And then he throws a bunch of people through some plate glass.
Yeah, knocks the hell out of somebody in the head, and then he throws another man through a window. Yeah, you don't want to mess with him.
It sets the whole place on fire.
Yep.
Real good. Then you meet two cops after all this. It's a great Jerry Reed scene. It's one of the best scenes.
It is. That's probably one of the highlights of Gator. That's right now at this part in the movie, we're still, for the most part, doing okay. It seemed like it's a little different, but we're watching the White Lightning sequel still at this point.
It's weird that he's from Georgia swamp and not Arkansas field.
There's some things a little off, but for the most part,
it's still real good. That's Jerry Reed, got some dirty 70s strip club, got some hitting people in the head with glass, throwing people through glass. Jerry Reed talking. I bounced one of them off a wall and one of them right through that window over there.
Yeah, it's everything he says is funny in a mean way, but still funny.
Setting a strip club on fire.
Yep.
Great.
Yep, all that's good. Yeah, and the next when there's somebody reports a fire, right, and we go to a police car.
Yeah, after he set it on fire, they report the fire.
And the next scene is these two policemen sitting in a car. And you get excited as soon as you meet them. You're like, all right, these are going to be some good characters here. I can't wait to see these fellas. This is going to be good. We'll never see them again.
Can't you see I'm eating my supper?
Can't you see I'm eating my supper? Yeah, and I'm like, all right, he's always going to be eating. He's like, we got to go do this.
Well, there's something's on fire. Well, can't you see I'm eating my breakfast?
And I thought, they could have had their own damn movie as far as I'm concerned. At least Burt Reynolds could have done it, brought him back at least a couple more times. But no, we just get that. I'm glad we got what we got. I'll say that. It was good just for that moment, but it sure don't come back. Nope, they're gone.
So Burt Reynolds dumps Jack Weston off at a terrible hotel, the Pink Palace Hotel, which is a good name. It's also, I think, the name of the Golden Girls sequel. And then we go down to where Mayor Dub Taylor, is having a big political rally. I guess he's running for mayor, and everybody in town is there, at least the people we need to meet for this movie. You got Alice Ghostley protesting the mayor. Alice Ghostley.
Alice Ghostley's always good in things. I remember Bewitched is what I remember. With Esmeralda.
Esmeralda from Bewitched.
Yeah, she's always good and fun, and she's good in this, yeah.
She hits a police officer on the head with a sign, says, Mayor Caffrey is a pinky commie. I don't think she meant pinko.
Pinko, she says pinky on the sign.
I don't know if that's art department. So she hits him with the sign, and she gets hauled off.
Hauled off to jail, yeah.
Dub Taylor's telling a weird joke. Jackie, do you know? Let me just tell. We watched this time for this podcast, and we had the words on the screen.
Watch it once without the subtitles and just enjoy the movie, and then go back and watch it. Because we watch, Gator may be one of the movies. At this point now, Gator, I may have seen Gator more than I've seen most of anything, I guess. But, go put the subtitles on it, because there's stuff that they're saying that you never knew they were saying.
So here is the joke. If you've seen Gator and you've never seen it with the titles on, here's the joke Dub Taylor tells.
He tells it good. Dub Taylor's good. Everything he does.
He was on Hee Haw for a while.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Lots of Westerns.
Yeah.
Mayor Dub Taylor. Well, I'm going to say he couldn't be worse. If he were president now, it couldn't be worse.
It wouldn't be any worse. No, I'd take him. I mean, it'd still be irritating here and there, but not like it. No.
So he tells a joke. He says, what's the difference between Uncle Sam, a rooster, and an old maid? This joke is sexist, by the way.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Uncle Sam? This is what he tells. He's running for mayor. Let's hear it for the Dunson County School Band.
Marching band music again.
Marching band. I'm running for mayor. We like it down here. The best city south of Baltimore. Who cares what's north of Baltimore? They hate Yankees.
Yankees. I don't like the Jewish people. We let them find that out right at the gate, and then they're reminding us Yankees are not welcome here.
And then he said, what's the difference between a rooster, Uncle Sam, a rooster, and an old maid? Uncle Sam says, Yankee Doodle Doo.
Yeah.
A rooster says cock-a-doodle-doo.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
And old maid says any old doodle-doo.
Oh, yeah. He says it funnier, though.
He says it funnier than I can
does.
tell it.
But it is a little, like you say, a little sexist here, but it's still.
But if you've wondered, like, I can't tell what they say, the sound mix is mud, I don't know what they say, that's what he says.
Yeah. Turn on, I'm telling you, watch it once. Now, you can see this. We saw this on a fancy Blu-ray. It's a Kino.
We watched this on the Kino Lorber Blu-ray version, came out a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
It's a good version. It's still dubbed. It's still some weird cuts and stuff in it, but it's probably the best version you're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what versions are streaming.
I ain't seen it look that good in a long time. It looks good on that thing, yeah. Whatever watch it on.
So we also everybody's at this. We run into Alice Ghostley. We run into our friend, girl, from the damn Unwed Mother's Home in White Lightning.
Now,
not the same character.
Playing a different character, same actress. Yeah, she's the one that told him how his brother died in White Lightning. And here she is. She's just a little sweet little, that's what you think at first, a little sweet little cheerleader. And boy, she sure does take a shining to Burt Reynolds right after.
Alligator, where you been all my life?
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's just a little sweet blonde-haired, small-town Southern gal.
Yeah.
Also, we meet Bama McCall.
Yep.
Well, we already met him,
but we're seeing them too.
But Burt Reynolds catches up.
Where you been?
We went to school together. Remember that dumb old coach? Yeah, what are you doing here? Just hanging out. I'm not a fink. What are you doing? I'm a crime boss, I guess.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
But while Jerry Reed is telling one of them Jerry Reed stories, which probably happens a lot when you're talking to Jerry Reed.
I would
Son,
think so.
let me tell you, what happened to that old coach? Then Lauren Hutton.
Yeah.
Who plays reporter.
Yeah. And some people say that Lauren Hutton, that she don't seem right. That doesn't seem to work. But she worked with Burt Reynolds a couple other movies, I believe. One called Paternity that I ain't seen, and one called Malone I ain't seen. But when you say Lauren Hutton, I remember her being on magazine stuff. She was a model or what, and you think, well, I don't know if that's going to work. She's good in this. I liked her in this. She for what she had to do, and, some of it probably wasn't particularly, fun to do, but he
never slaps her.
She does not get hit, thank goodness. But there's something appealing about this actress, Lauren Hutton. I like her. I know she's been in some other stuff. I don't know it all, but she was good in Gator, yeah.
Jerry Reed is talking, and Burt Reynolds looks up and sees her broadcasting from like a bandstand or something. The soundtrack drops out, so you can't hear Jerry Reed anymore, but this music that I think is supposed to be romantic music.
Yeah, I'm not sure, though. It could either be romantic music, which, of course, is what you think it is at first, but then it could also be maybe interpreted as some eerie, like he's a stalker or like he's going to kill her or something. It could go either way. It really could.
They make eye contact and just stare into each other's eyes from across the Dunston County Fairgrounds or whatever, town square or whatever.
Political rally, whatever.
Political rally it is. And then Jack Weston's also there poking balloons with his lit cigar.
Yep. He don't like children. Well, a little boy, blonde hair, little.
If I'd been in Dunston County for like 2 days and everybody had made Jewish jokes about me, I'd probably pop the balloons of all the little Aryan kids too.
Yeah. Give you attitude, yeah.
So then we cut to a dinner party. I don't know if this is at the mayor's or at Bama McCall's.
Yeah.
Lots of women in low-cut dresses. Everybody laughing and laughing.
Lots of laughing in this movie. Lots and lots of laughing. A whole lot.
I guess those women are supposed to be prostitutes, but the only prostitutes we meet later are like 15 years old, so I'm not sure.
These women are much older, thank goodness. But yeah, later on,
This is where we meet, we see Dub Taylor, a prostitute, put Dub Taylor's hand on her ass.
Yeah.
And Burt Reynolds laugh.
Thinks that's funny, yeah.
Then we get to meet Smiley, who's a little homoerotic towards Burt Reynolds, which is a weird, talking about prison sex.
Right.
Making Burt Reynolds uncomfortable.
Making him uncomfortable,
So it's a little homophobic, but it's also a little, you get to see Burt Reynolds be uncomfortable by being treated kind of the same way they treat a lot of women in this movie.
That's true. Gets a little in return, yeah. I guess that's right. Now, you got to think Burt Reynolds put it in there for a reason. I don't think it's that. He's the director of this. We got to remember now, Burt Reynolds he's in charge of this whole movie. This is his directorial debut, as I say.
It is his directorial debut, and I don't know if he is putting this in there to show that Burt Reynolds is desirable to men as well.
Sure, yeah, could have been.
Or
that.
to prove that he's not gay.
Yeah, it could go. Yeah, you don't know why it's there, but you know.
Every time he does some weird, out of nowhere anti-gay remark in his movies, I don't know if that's there because he's the 70s and he was more homophobic than or if he's just always trying to prove he's not gay. If you look at it like that, his whole career is about him trying to prove he's not gay. Every stunt, every car crash, every time he's hanging from a helicopter or jumping on a train, every time he makes a weird out of nowhere anti-Semitic remark, every time he's naked on a bearskin rug, it's like he's trying to prove he's not gay.
Well, people are going to say it. I don't know why people waste their time. They're going to say it. If you were in a movie in Hollywood, the people are going to say it either way. Don't matter, no difference.
So we don't know Burt Reynolds' intentions?
Nope, can't say we do.
There's a lot of stuff in these movies that we're going to watch that we're not going to be able to decipher intentions.
We can guess, we can make estimates, but we will never truly know the psyche of Burt Reynolds.
So there's that stuff, but let's get to the race stuff.
Well, moving on to this, so Ben McCall gets him some work, so he's going to be, what do you call it, pickup man, the man, whatever. He's supposed to go collect the insurance, the payoffs from all these establishments, and the first place he takes him to, he wants to take him to the black part of town. And he basically gives him this speech without having to say it in a kind of a derogatory, bad way that he says it. He basically says, sometimes black people get upset when you rob them. Which
is true.
Yes, and they should get mad. Everybody should get mad. That's the point. But he just needed to point that out in particular to Gator. Now, we should be clear. He's a bad guy, so we know he got some racist issues. He got all this. You can tell right away when he starts talking that way about black people. Gator don't like it. He don't. It makes him uncomfortable. It about makes him as uncomfortable as a gay man hitting on him.
They go into Hard-Hearted Hannah's, which is looks to be a black club, and after he gives his little speech, he says, "You always were a little colorblind, weren't you?" So we know that Gator, even back
in,
a few years ago, always was a little colorblind.
Well, good for him.
Because they see a black dancer on the stage when they go in the club, and Jerry Reed says, "Would you?" This is how you prove that you're not racist. Would you fuck that girl?
Hey, watch your mouth.
The black one. In a New York Minute, says Burt Reynolds. And then Jerry Reed laughs. He doesn't say anything. I take it to mean he agrees. So that's race relations in Gator. You can tell Burt Reynolds is nice because he would have sex with black ladies.
Very much, yeah. That's about it.
And he feels sorry for the people that Jerry Reed steals from. Big George.
Big George. Now, I wish there was more Big George in this movie because right off the bat, as soon as you meet Big George, you're like, hey.
He doesn't take nothing, shit from
the only
Jerry
person
Reed
in the whole movie that you think could stand up to Jerry Reed. I don't think well, he is the only person that really kind of, stands up to you, but you believe it too. Like, well, I don't know if Jerry Reed can get past, Big George here, but yeah.
So, also this is where Burt Reynolds says black is beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's a scene where Jerry Reed shoots a jukebox because JJ, who runs Hard-Hearted Hannah's, runs out without paying Jerry Reed his money.
Oh, yeah.
And then they come around the corner, and JJ almost runs him over with a car, and Jerry Reed shoots a tire out, and he runs into the wall, and then he gives him his money.
A little bit of action here, not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot yet,
a little bit of action.
Kind of gritty, seems kind of true to life.
Yeah.
They're trying to say something. I don't know about intentions or effect or how it all comes out, but by the end of it, everybody's laughing and having a good time.
Yeah, yeah. He has to pay up Jerry Reed, but nobody gets killed or beat up or anything. That turns out okay. He just robs him. Yeah,
he just robs him, and we know that Burt Reynolds isn't racist because of all the black women he'd like to have sex with.
Yeah.
Then we cut to a scene at the fancy hotel where Jerry Reed, now we get to sexism. Wow, this is like a 1, 2, 3. So then you got him at the poolside. It starts out the shot. Burt Reynolds, director, starts his shot out on two women's asses.
There's three.
Three. It might be
behinds.
three asses.
I think it's three behinds. Yeah, you just.
Sometimes I can't get past the second one. My eyes are bigger than my stomach, I guess.
Yeah.
So it starts out on asses at this scene that's going to show Jerry Reed to be sexist. It's hard to tell what's. So you got your asses, and you got Jerry Reed, Bama McCall telling Gator, Burt Reynolds, you got to get used to this high living, son.
Yeah.
What you want now? You want a steak? You want a lobster? You want steak and lobster?
You want both? Yeah.
That's a good life.
Yeah.
Which you want both of them? A little surf and turf? I'll call that pool janitor, waiter. Well, they got a pool waiter and a pool janitor, I guess. I call that pool waiter over. Then you eat that lobster and you spit that shell out, and that pool janitor comes over here and gets it.
Cleans it up. Yep.
In my world, if you're Jerry Reed, a waiter and a janitor are the same fucking thing.
Yep. Watch your mouth, though, but yeah.
He also gets a call from Poggy, one of the dirty cops.
He got a dirty cop always giving him an inside scoop, and that goes on here and there. And now we pretty much are convinced at this point when Poggy gives him a call, we think he's telling him right then and there. Now, it doesn't lead on that that's the case, but it appears to be as the movie progresses. We think he just told him that Burt Reynolds, a Gator, is a fake.
We think this is where he learns it. Now, we're not 100% sure.
Not 100% sure.
But he's obviously he has a soft spot for Gator, and he doesn't want to believe it, or he's giving him a chance. I think this is where he learns it. He might learn it later when Burt Reynolds kind of tips his hand in the drunk scene.
Yeah.
The drugged scene.
Right.
But it also could be right here.
It could be. We're not sure. If you see that and you get an inkling, you let us know. Get on the computer and write us and tell us.
This is also where Agatha Maybach comes over and tells Jerry Reed that she canceled his series, because that's one important thing that local crime bosses in Dunston County have to do is cancel the local TV station series on poverty in the county, because
this is Lauren Hutton. I guess is her character. She's back. Agatha Maybach is on the news. Yeah.
And then Jerry Reed says, if you come over here to piss and moan with your women's lib poverty program bullshit, not while I'm enjoying my meal with my friend and paying for it with my own money.
And she walks away, and then it says,
nice ass.
Yep.
Little uppity. So, in 3 scenes, we've gotten Burt Reynolds getting sexually harassed by Smiley from Honeymoon in Vegas. You get to see Jerry Reed's speech on race relations, which I think may actually be the Republican platform right now.
Yep.
And then you get to see Jerry Reed say women's lib bullshit and nice ass after she walks away.
Now, other than the gay man hitting on Burt Reynolds, other than that, the other two, he's a bad guy. These are bad things that he's doing. He's bad. I think it's supposed to mean that, like, he's just an awful person. But although I'm sure some people would watch this and snicker, but I mean, he's a bad person. He's a racist. He's a sexist. He's awful.
That's right, because Burt Reynolds doesn't look at Lauren Hutton and go, uppity.
No.
I mean, he agreed about the ass. But he sees her and says, oh, that woman, I support her work. She's an independent journalist, and that's important in America. And Gator McClusky stands on the side of women. So then Burt Reynolds goes to pick up some money from a nice black lady who's singing and setting out roach spray. Her children come out. They make weird overdubbed noises. And
they don't understand that. The 2 children come in there and it's like making weird mouth sounds, but they're not making it. Somebody is making it for them. It's something. It's eerie. Something's not right.
She has to teach Burt Reynolds how to do her job. She said, I can't afford no fire. I don't want no trouble with Bama McCall. I can't afford no fire. He said, there ain't going to be no fire. Burt Reynolds will not let Bama McCall set black people's businesses on fire anymore.
Well, good for him.
But this woman still looks at Burt Reynolds like, you're useless.
Well, yeah.
Like, she's having to tell him how to do his job. Like, sign here, I sign here, and you sign this.
Get out.
I like this roach display you got here, this roach spray display. She's like, ugh, there's no good one of you.
No. Well, after he leaves here, he does his first run, which I guess was an unpleasant experience for him, obviously. Burt Reynolds made very sure that we understood that he did not like taking money from anybody.
This is a great scene. Weird, creepy. He walks in and you see a bunch of underage teenage prostitutes in various degrees of drug stupor.
Some are playing board games, some playing cards, some people painting their toenails, but everybody's saying, everything's hazy. It's just like, looks hazy and everybody's acting hazy.
This is where we meet Tinker.
Tinker, yeah.
Hi, I'm Tinker. He's like, is Bama around? I got to tell him that I love black people again.
Yeah.
And she says, I can help make you feel good. And she touches his face or something. It's weird. It's all weird. This is a good, creepy, weird scene.
Yeah, he does not want her to touch his face. He would mess up his mustache or whatever it is, but he jerks her hand away. Like, well, he don't want no teenager touching him that way, which is, he's a decent human being. That's why.
And also the mustache is kind of new. It's very important. We need to use these women and black people so we understand how awesome Gator McClusky is.
Yeah.
So then he walks in on Jerry Reed in another great outfit.
Well, remember, but when he asked her, remember what she said, where is he at? She goes, he's in there, and points to this door. Then she says, he's always in there.
That's weird.
And yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, I guess yeah.
So we go in, we see Jerry Reed putting on his clothes, says, don't you ever knock.
Could have caught him with his britches down, he says, yeah.
Jerry Reed gives a great speech here.
This is some great acting, and this is, I'm going to say right now, and I really honestly believe this. This is Oscar-worthy performance acting right here.
Did he win the Oscar this year?
Who's that?
Jerry Reed.
Jerry Reed. He should have. I don't know. I don't keep up with all the Oscars, but he should have. He should have if he didn't. Because you talk about being a bad guy and your point of view, and the world's full of takers, and you got to take it, son, or they gonna take it from you. I mean, I ain't doing it justice. It's a hell of a speech, and he's just he's a mean, tough guy.
I didn't make the world the way it was.
Yeah, said there was a man before me, and there's definitely gonna be a man after me, and I guess he's right about that. Yeah, but still,
but bad guy, bad guy.
Terrible
I mean,
person.
He's also right about the people. They're gonna reach out and take you. I mean, that's true. Also,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's a cynical way of looking at things. I think we're here to help people and to but he's right. There was a man before me, and I didn't make the world the way it was. Son, soon your daddy's going to be dead. That's true. Even if your daddy's already dead, the meaning behind it is also true. I mean, what you can hold in your hand is what you got. What you can taste is what you got. And it's just poontang. And all the poontang, that's what you got. And they can't take that away from you. And you got to take it, and the world's full of takers, and they're going to take you.
Yeah. It's a hell of a speech. It's a hell of a
Very
scene.
true. No, not true. That's not true.
No, that part
what you're
is
supposed to do.
Well, it's like the devil always says. The devil uses the truth to confuse you, and that's kind of like he's a devil in this. He's trying to, but he doesn't really sway Burt Reynolds at all.
There's
no, he just
some truth to everything.
Yes.
And really cynical, awful way of looking at the world can be seductive. It's how we get libertarians.
Yeah.
So then Jerry Reed said, get on, hey, I'm going to leave the room. Why don't you climb on top of this 14-year-old girl?
Basically, yeah.
That's going to make you feel better. I just laid a lot of truth on you.
And it implied that he had just finished doing whatever to the 14-year-old himself.
Right, because he's getting ready, putting aftershave on, fluffing up his blonde afro, fastening his vest, all the things that you did in the 70s.
He got his fancy aftershave. Yeah, he like said he puts a little of that on Burt Reynolds. He said, you need a little of this on your face.
Put this on you.
Yeah.
That is, let me tell you, that is crossing a line. Slapping your aftershave on another man's cheeks.
All I can say is good to see Burt Reynolds get slapped by somebody else.
That may be one of the only times. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of aftershave. That doesn't happen often. I don't know if it happens at all. Now, he gets punched and hit. He don't get slapped.
He does not get slapped.
He does the slapping. He's about to do some slapping here in this next scene, which is probably the most inappropriate place for him to Dom DeLuise, slap away. I'm ready. He's a grown man. He can take it. He knows what he's in. He knows what he's in store for. But he goes over, and this little teenager, 14, 15-year-old girls on all kinds of drugs, and she's saying, come over here, I can do things. I don't even like saying this. She said, I can do things to you. But Burt Reynolds, of course, just sit there and ask her how old she is. I figured this would be a good time for him to say, you remind, you the same age as my daughter or whatever, but of course he doesn't bring her up.
She says, I can do things to you.
Oh, don't even,
certain
No.
things. So, this scene, Burt Reynolds, director, pulls out all the stops here. If you thought there's when you think of Burt Reynolds in the 70s, if you think, sure, he'd have sex with a 15-year-old girl on drugs. No, that's not what Burt Reynolds in the 70s would do.
He would not.
And this is the movie where he tells us that.
Yes.
Because she opens up she's saying, I'll do whatever you want. And Jerry Reed's like, son. And he's like, no. And she opens up her jewelry box, and you see the mirrors, and you see Burt Reynolds' face in one mirror. And
she getting the drugs out. Now,
he's directing the shit out of it.
Yeah, he's really working. We should point out, there's a lot of scenes in this movie where you can see, he's doing the camera this way and that way, and he's making a shot. And then the other scenes, just like, just go in the door. So it's a mixture of both. There's some really artistic, I guess you'd say, scenes like the one we're talking about now, where you see the reflections of the little girl and him, and she's getting the drugs.
I'll say most of it is like that. Most of it is directed well and like stylishly and thought out. But I'd say there's about 5 to 10% that's just like, lunch is coming.
Yeah.
So
let's get through this.
Just get through the door.
Yeah, pretty much what it is. But she takes one of these drugs, and I don't understand drugs. I don't know what they are. The one she breaks a drug underneath.
They name a lot of drugs in this movie, by the way.
Yellows.
Reed has a Quaaludes.
And
yellows. Naming a lot of drugs.
Yeah, but I don't know what this one was. She doesn't say the name of it. She breaks it in half, and I guess underneath the nose, and then she reaches up and does one to Burt Reynolds, and she wish she hadn't have done that.
Because Burt Reynolds, he's like, that's the last straw. I've got another man's aftershave on me. I don't want a teenage prostitute's damn nose drugs up in me.
Yeah. And he, sure enough, hauls off and slaps this young girl. I don't know if that's the right thing you should do to a teenage prostitute on a lot of drugs. I don't think that you should slap them around.
Now, everybody has their own opinions about child rearing, but I'm just not sure that that's what she needs right now, is like to get slapped in the face. If you're a 70s era teenage prostitute strung out on drugs in Jerry Reed's teenage prostitute stupor hotel, I think maybe you need just someone to say, look, things are okay.
Let's get you out of here.
Let's get you out of here.
Get you home. Wait, let's get you to the doctor, get you cleaned up. But no, Burt Reynolds, he took it personally.
The shit out of her.
Yeah,
we never see her again. Also, by the way, I've seen this scene I don't know how many times. I watch it nightly. I've seen this scene I don't know how many times, and he slaps her, and I've always thought it's so heavy, and like he's really directing the shit out of it, and then we never see her again.
That's it. Yeah, it's just like a two policemen early, they're in the
fine.
car.
They got a hamburger.
Well, yeah, they're doing all right, but she's doing terrible.
She's in danger.
Yeah, but I don't know. We don't know if he got her out of there, if he just hit her and left. We don't know.
I thought he would come back and you'd see, but see, here's why that doesn't happen, because we're about to shift into a totally different movie.
Well, we're not quite there yet. We're getting there. There's more and more signs of it, but there's a very particular moment in the film where it flips over, I guess. It just turns into something else. But we're not there. We're
not
almost
there yet. We're
close.
still at the part where she says that nobody here in the drug stupor hotel is over 16 because Bama likes it that way.
He likes it that way.
Which also, I think, was Roy Moore's campaign slogan.
So so we got racism, sexism, and then pedophilia, I suppose. That's all that combined. This is a bad man. Bama McCall is one of the worst bad guys, I reckon, in any movie out there. And I, say what you want, but Jerry Reed plays the hell out of it. He does. He is that bad. And it's weird because Jerry Reed is such an appealing Nice man. Snowman. It's Snowman. You know, you like Jerry. Everybody likes Jerry Reed. If you don't like Jerry Reed, something wrong with you.
Yeah, it's like next year it's Snowman, right? It's like Gator in 76 and Smoking the Bandit in 77.
If you going to play a bad guy first time out, you going to play one of the worst ones ever was. And he does. Bama McCall is no one to be reckoned with. And he's got that charm, Jerry Reed charm, but he sure turn around, shoot you, knock your hell, throw you through a window. You don't know what he going to do.
You know, Burt Reynolds is director. Follows up this heavy scene with the teenage prostitute and us just seeing the depths of Jerry Reed's character and seeing how much Burt Reynolds wants to help through slapping. We cut to a lighter scene where Burt Reynolds is like, somebody splashed a Jew. So we get Jack Weston sitting out in front of by a hotel pool.
Yeah, on the phone.
And for some levity, Burt Reynolds is always like, let's get Jack Weston wet.
Yeah. But, you know, we'd seen him get real wet earlier, so this wasn't a whole lot. But I guess there's nothing else going on. He's sitting there talking on the phone. Let's gotta do
Splash
something.
him.
Let's get this scene moving.
Get him
Let's
wet.
get something happening. Yeah, get him wet.
So, Burt Reynolds, upset. He's seen Jerry Reed be mean to black people, teenage prostitutes.
Yep.
He can't take it anymore.
He's had enough.
He goes to his house. There's a card game going on. He said, I got to talk to you. He embarrasses him in front of people. And Jerry Reed says, I know that he's working with the feds. I can't take it anymore. Bones, make them drink strong. Takes him into another room, has Bones drug a drink for him, give it to Gator. I'm confused if Gator knows he's drinking a drug drink because he just chugs that stuff.
Chugs it down. It makes you wonder, like, go ahead. I know you're going to drug me. It seems that way. But again, sometimes Gator's motivations aren't entirely clear to me.
Can I also just say, watching this, and I've seen Gator I don't know how many times, this is the first time I realized that Gator's belt buckle said Gator.
It's a big belt buckle. It looks, I wonder, bet that went in an auction or something.
Oh, I'd love to have that belt buckle.
It's a
I would
good
love
belt
to
buckle,
have it.
yeah.
It says Gator right on the damn belt buckle.
It is a big, nice belt buckle.
How did I never notice that before, that Gator has... Not great at undercover work, by the way, if your belt buckle just says Gator. Also, he's just Gator. Like, he's supposed to be undercover work, but it's not technically undercover if you're just yourself.
Yeah.
Basically, you're just betraying your friends. They're
Pretty much.
terrible friends.
Yeah, they're awful friends. Yeah, if I wouldn't consider someone a friend if he was, molested teenagers. I wouldn't consider him a friend.
Just
any
start
longer.
there.
Yeah.
Let
That's the first. Let alone racism and all the rest of it, shooting people, killing people. Just right there, that's bad enough. I'd have to cancel out all friendship, I think.
So I'm not sure how long this scene lasts, but I think it's 70, 80 minutes of Burt Reynolds playing drugs.
It feels like it is what it feels like. Yeah, Burt Reynolds go, get me now. I'm going to get sillier and sillier and sillier. And that's pretty much what happens. You can see there's a moment where Bama McCall, Jerry Reed, looks at him, and you can tell he's like, he pretty much almost regrets that he drugged Burt Reynolds because he's having to listen and hear all this.
So Jerry Reed says, Bones, when Burt Reynolds finally mercifully passes out.
Takes too long. We're waiting for Burt Reynolds to pass out. You don't tease the audience like that. You gonna pass out in a minute. I'm still standing. Yeah, making noise and
So Burt Reynolds finally. The problem with Burt Reynolds as a director is when Burt Reynolds decides to have Burt Reynolds in a drugged scene, there's nobody to say, maybe we should clock this and wrap it up.
Move on
after 5 minutes or so.
You would think Jerry Reed's character, after he passed out, said, we need to get us some nude passing out drugs. Because that took...
Somebody, Bones, check the expiration date.
These ain't working like
on these yellows, because I think they were...
I ain't gonna endure that from somebody I drug. I ain't gonna sit there and deal with that no more,
So Jerry Reed says, Bones, put him in a car, point him back toward out of Dunston County so he can go home and see his daughter and who he thinks is his father, although we all know because we saw White Lightning. It's not. It's
Skeeter, that's Dude's daddy. Maybe adopted him after some parents got killed in a car accident.
He thinks he lives in a swamp. I think he's from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Either point it towards the swamp or to Arkansas. Either way, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Then Jack Weston is in a bar, the Green Cat Lounge. Good names for bars.
There's a lot of good, the little dive bars that looks like it'd be fun to frequent, sort of, for a little while. Visit, anyway.
So Poggy, the dirty cop, sees Jack Weston, and the bartender, Jack Weston's talking to Charlie. fat guy who steals his gun. They put the make on. The finger. That's not good. Anyway, they just know Jack Weston is working for the feds.
Yeah, they call him out on it. He said, "Ain't I seen you work? I know you from the courthouse. I seen you."
A lot of Jewish jokes.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, still. And sure enough, he goes outside, and there's old Bones and Smiley waiting for him on either end of the alleyway.
Beat the shit out of him.
They beat him up. Luckily, we don't have to watch it a whole lot of it, because nobody wants to sit there and watch Jack Weston get
Jack Weston in the
up.
hospital, which I think is supposed to kind of be funny, even though it's also
it's supposed
horrific.
to be funny because it's like Three Stooges. He got bandages all over him. He got the neck brace in his hand. That's supposed to be funny. He got a black eye, everything, and he's in the police. He's not in the police. He's in the hospital. Yeah,
but the police are there.
They're there, and old Gator McClusky doesn't take Bama's advice. He could have went home. Right here, he could have went home. This is when you know he's no longer working for the man. He's working for himself, because at that point has to come. He could have went home, minded his own business. Bama Call would have let him live. But no, he decides to go back and see this through. But I think at this point, this is when he says, I can't allow this man to do these things to
and
all
also
these people.
At this point is when the movie shifts from
just about
pretty good country White Lightning sequel.
Few moments now and then. Burt Reynolds being drugged, did a little here and there, just like
kind of gritty down home.
Yep. And then he runs in. He goes in. He has to run from because the cops in the hospital don't want him to see him. So he heads the other way. And then old Lauren Hutton, what's her name? Aggie, Agatha. Aggie. She sees him with the news and chase him with the camera, with a microphone. And also, this is probably the only time ever you would see Burt Reynolds running, trying not to be on camera. That's good acting, I have to say, on his part, because he really looks as if he did not want to be on that camera.
So, Jackie, where would you say that this movie shifts and becomes a breezy, light romantic comedy featuring the Burt Reynolds of the late 70s versus the White Lightning Deliverance Burt Reynolds that you've seen in conflict?
We see the transition happen right before your eyes in this movie here. And I tell you, right when it happens is when she asks him out to dinner. She asks, can I take you out to dinner? He turns around and does what, Groucho Marx or something. And from that moment on, we're in a different movie.
Is it partly because of it becomes a romance? I mean, I just can't imagine Gator McClusky doing Groucho Marx.
It ain't just that. It sure the romance stuff, which he wasn't in there, which granted, he didn't have an opportunity to fall in love with her yet, the character. She hadn't really come in it much except to get called out, had a nice rear end, and Women's Lib said to her by Bama McCall. So there is to say that this is where the romance happened, but this is not what I'm personally interested in, and it's also just different, but also the tone of the humor in it. It turns into we'll keep going on what happened next here.
It is like when they point him in away from Dutton County, he turns around and drives into a different movie.
Yeah, when he comes back, Dutton County has changed into like a slapstick sort of romantic.
It's lit differently. It's lit for romantic comedy, or also that there's something going on here where they're both supposed to be doing like witty repartee. And they're supposed to be having amazing hot patter.
Yeah.
But nothing they say makes any sense.
And they keep telling each other, well, that's clever, that's clever. It's like a language they're doing this in something that nobody else understands but Burt Reynolds and Lauren Hutton.
Clever. Yeah, nobody knows what they're talking about except for them. I guess the language they're speaking is boning.
What?
So she takes Burt Reynolds to meet Alice Ghostley.
I like her. Oh, Esmeralda, bewitched. Yeah, we go there, and she warns him. She said, now, she can get a hold of all these, again, going back to the tax paper. We need to get the records. We need to get tax records and all this in order to get him. This woman used to work in the courthouse, but she got fired, but she's seen all this information. She knows how corrupt the system is. She knows, I got to take you to her. So they go to her, but she warns Burt Reynolds, she's a little crazy. She's a little bit weird, but I think she's great. And sure enough, she turns out to be a little strange.
I'd say wacky is a good word.
Wacky. It's not in a realistic way at all. It's just like there's no reason.
It gets a little sitcom-y. You got Alice Ghostley, you got Jack Weston. It's like Burt Reynolds is trying to add the second act of a Neil Simon play onto White Lightning.
Yeah. And it just don't feel right. It just don't feel the same.
Again, not taking anything away from amazing boat wrecks,
Oh, yeah.
punching,
Doesn't ruin any of that. No.
jukebox shooting.
No.
We're just in a weird part right now where they're about to go snooping around the Hall of Records with two cats.
Yeah. She loves the cats, Alice Ghostley. She loves the cats. She said, talk to this. Look,
Red and Silverbell are
Red
the names of
and
the...
Silverbell, right? That's it?
Red and Silverbell are the names of Alice Ghostley's cats
Yep.
in the film Gator.
Yeah. You get introduced to them, and you're going to be with them for a little while because for some strange reason, but no other reason, I guess, than she's crazy, they go to sneak in the courthouse. She still has the keys. We can break in there. We'll get all this stuff. We'll make Xerox. We'll get out. They drive up, quiet, lights out. Here we go. She says, go back and get them cats. We got to take these cats in with it. Of course, Burt Reynolds just puts his foot down.
I'm not taking those cats.
I'm not taking those cats.
And I won't go. All right, get the cats.
So then we have a whole scene of snooping around with Burt Reynolds and Lauren Hutton.
Which, in the scene's defense, is really funny.
It is funny. It don't make any sense, though.
Cats squalling is really funny. Cats climbing up Burt Reynolds' back and Lauren Hutton trying to control cats and Alice Ghostley going, no. That's funny.
That is good.
That's not Gator.
No, it is not Gator. That's a different movie. That's something else.
I don't mind that movie, but don't put it on Gator.
Don't tag it in the Gator. There's no place for this
The
in
Gator for White Lightning wouldn't even watch the movie we're talking about, let alone be in it.
Yeah.
Gator for White Lightning, when she said she didn't want to take, she wasn't going if she didn't take the cats in, he would have put a cinder block on the gas pedal and send that whole car careening towards the ocean.
Yep.
But that's not what's happening now. Gator, the second half of Gator, the last third act of Gator has become a weirdly toned comedy.
Yeah. But sure enough, they get caught inside trying to break in. A security guard sees them, calls the police. Police run. So now we're watching Burt Reynolds hide in the door and come running out, holding these cats, which it is in itself amusing and funny.
He should have just committed and had cats through the whole movie.
If you're going to do that, just have cats just hold them the whole time. If she's going to be with you, you got to have these cats. But
cops show up, shoot at them. One of the cops is also named Red, same name as the cat.
Yep. Same
Trivia is part of the reason I like doing these.
Well, it's fun. You learn things, yeah.
Then you got Sidney Greenfield back in the hospital, Jack Weston, and a guy in the bed next to him just groaning, having a groaning contest. Jack Weston's like, come on over here. Come bring your cats and the records, and come over here, meet me at the emergency room. I'm going to stick out of this hospital. Ow. And the guy in the bed next to him's going, ow. And Sidney Greenfield's like the two Jews in a lot of pain. He's making his own Jewish jokes.
Yeah.
Which it is funny that the only two Jews in Dunston County have been severely beaten. Not funny. That's not funny.
No, but it's just...
I mean, par for the course.
It's yeah. But, that goes on for a while.
Then Smiley gets out of a car and Burt Reynolds hits him with a car.
Well, Smiley showed up there to get old Jack Weston. They're going to get him, but no, Burt Reynolds
when
gets him to see
you sneak out of a hospital and you see a car in the distance flash its lights at you and you've just been beaten up in an alley in
Don't
Dunston
walk
County.
toward it. Don't go back inside. We used to say Burt Reynolds and them, they steal a police car when they leave. They just run in and get in the police. Somehow they manage to slip past them inside to get in the police car, so they pick up old Jack Weston with a police car, so they know that the car is hot. We got to get rid of this. And this is when Lauren Hutton tells him, my uncle got a house on the beach. We can stay there. We'll go to my house. We'll get another car. We'll be out there. Nobody knows about it.
They're doing patter in the car. Who said you could make all the decisions? I just want to blah, blah. They just got shot at. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Tonally,
yeah.
It's very confusing. So they're at the beach house. There's no phone at the beach house. Jack Weston is like, go find a phone, Gator. And Gator's like, where am I going to find a phone at 5 o'clock in the morning? I think I'm going to fuck Lauren Hutton.
Hey, watch your mouth. Don't
They
say
make
like
excuses to go out to have sex on the beach, which I think is... Sex on the beach is, whether you're talking about a drink or actual sex, very 70s.
Yeah. Well, they both comment on how much they like the ocean, and then she takes her top off. Not where you can see it.
This is good dialogue, too, by the way. Do you like the ocean? I love the ocean.
Again.
It's beautiful.
None of this belongs in a Gator movie. None of this. It's pleasant enough. I like her. Burt Reynolds is doing what Burt Reynolds does and all this. But she takes her top off. Says, well, she say, you charm my shirt right off my back. And then there's a shot like we're at the point of view of Lauren Hutton, and it's Burt Reynolds leaning up to get a hold of her to do, you know what he's got in store, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, you see him looking at us like he's looking at the audience.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to fuck you on this sand. And then his eyes go down to tit level and then back up to her eyes. This is exactly what it felt like to be Dinah Shore around this time.
Yeah.
And then he gets up off the sand, grabs you, and like, you know what's coming? Sand sex from Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
1976.
Well, they spare us the actual seeing all that, the rutting or whatever it is. We get past that this morning time, and they're laying there in a sweater that they both fit inside. It's one sweater. She got her arm in one, and he got it. I guess it's supposed to be cute or funny or something. I just they're stretching that sweater out.
They had a lot of good. They talked on the beach. She wants to win the Pulitzer Prize and live in New York City. And he just wants to go back to the swamp.
Yeah.
The hump would you settle for a Rotary Club football trophy and a hump in the swamp, he says? And
good for her. She said absolutely. I mean, makes it very clear.
No.
Right there. I would
not say
that will not be happening. We can have a good time here, but no, I ain't going to,
Which is good. We're talking about the sexist parts of this movie. We should say, having Lauren Hutton tell Gator to his face, that does not sound good to me.
Yeah, I'm going to New York.
That's pretty, for 1976 Burt Reynolds movie, I'm going to say that's pretty forward thinking.
Yeah.
Let's give credit where credit is due. She did just bone him on the beach, but let's give credit where credit is due. They also didn't show us Jack Weston and Alice Ghostley fucking, which I think
don't even. There's no reason for that. I don't understand. Suddenly, let's give him something to do. Let her have a crush on him, which at first he don't like, and then he says, "Oh my God!" And I can't tell if he still don't like her or suddenly he likes her. I don't understand. But there's a sweet little tender scene later on. I don't know if they did what you talking about, where she tucks him in and puts his cigar out and all this. There's something I want to mention too. We forgot to. I don't mean to go back. This is not how you're supposed to do this. But when old Smiley gets hit by a car, doesn't Bones pick him up and run with him like a baby for a little while?
Yes, that's true. We're forgetting the part about when you're talking about slapstick. There's a part where Bones is like, "I'll always be here for you, Smiley.
Yeah,
and you always were my friend."
He was scary earlier. This big giant man scared. Now he's picking up. And yeah, it's like a George and Mouse. I'll pet him and
then Burt Reynolds chases him around the parking lot in a car. It gets wacky from the hospital, like as soon as they get out of the hospital.
Yeah, I just want to go back and mention that there's more wackiness in there. There's more Benny Hill, I guess, what you call it, running around, police academy, whatever, just silliness. That wouldn't have been appropriate at all in the first half of the movie. That I guess that's just what it is now.
Well, so this is all kind of light and silly and weird. They've been sneaking around cats and they're having like gorgeously shot sex on the beach in a nice sweater with the uncle's hat that probably cost about $700 at Abercrombie and Fitch. And then they go into the damn town. Burt Reynolds comes back and he's trying to find a phone, and there's this funny, cute scene with I don't know if it's funny or cute, but there's some kids and a dog, and they're trying to call somebody, tell them they got their dog, and Burt Reynolds has to call the people with the dog.
I guess he thinks it's funny him squeezing into the phone booth with the two children and the dog, and then getting back out and then squeeze. I guess that's supposed to be funny. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not. Well, why is this happening again? It's just something that doesn't move the plot along at all.
Meanwhile, Jerry Reed blows Jack Weston's brains out all over the wall of the beach house.
That's something we should say, too. The police officer comes to him and just says, "Oh, she's got an uncle, has a house out on the beach." It just tells him. But she says earlier in the movie, "Don't nobody know about it." Well, I guess
that's good police work.
He's good police. He told her where they were. So, yeah, Jerry Reed goes out there, and last time we see them, they're funning and being silly. Bones comes in, grabs old Alice Ghostley by the throat, you don't want to see anybody do that in the movie.
Jerry Reed shoots the shit out of Jack Weston.
Blows him away.
Then sets the place on fire to cover up his tax evasion.
Yep.
And they were going to I never caught this before. I always just remembered them blowing up Alice
killing
Ghostley.
her, too.
But they were taking her, I don't know, maybe as a hostage, maybe to kill her somewhere else. But they weren't killing her like they were going to kill Jack Weston. I don't know what they were going to do with her. But she runs out to go rescue her cat. She runs back into the house. She kicks, after they gruesomely murdered Jack Weston, she kicks Bones in the balls. And he says, "Ow, my balls."
Yeah.
She runs into the house. The place goes up in a ball of flames, and she screams horrifically.
She died. What they're implying is she went in there and she burned up trying to get a catch.
Gruesome murder of beloved character actor.
Ow, my balls.
Ow, my balls.
Yeah.
Horrific screaming.
Just weird, strange movie. You know, none of that seems right. Just none of it seems like it.
Totally all over the place. Totally all over the place. So then Burt Reynolds and Lauren Hutton come back to the scene of the gruesome murder. So like, shit, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, we got to run this. Yeah, we got to go now. They're coming for us. Yeah.
So he sets a trap. Gator sets a trap for Bama McCall.
Yep.
At a weird beach hotel.
Yeah, where it tells a man, I'm newlywed, he'll make some noise, huh?
Newlywed, huh?
Yeah,
you gonna really give it to her tonight?
Yeah, I would have walked that right there.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah,
you gonna give it to her tonight?
I wouldn't appreciate somebody talking to me like that.
Make some noise
if
tonight,
I was trying to rent a room. Yeah.
You really want to get up in that?
Yeah.
What's she going to do to you? It's going to make you scream.
All right. That's what I'm saying I wouldn't like. Anyway, I don't know why the man does it, but he does. That's just how he is, I guess. But they get a hotel room there, and then he calls old Bama McCall himself, who has a phone in his car, right? That was a big deal.
He had a phone in his car.
He has
a gigantic chauffeur and a phone in his car.
He's out the sunroof still. Bones can't fit in the car. He's from shoulders up. Guy's head. And Burt Reynolds basically says, I got these tax returns or whatever it is. The guy that got all the paperwork from the courthouse, he said, I thought I burned all that up in the fire. And Burt Reynolds like, well, you didn't burn it all up. I still got a little bit. So sure enough, turn this car around, Bama McCall does, and him and Bones were racing to get that hotel. Going to end this once and for all is what they got planned. Yeah.
Burt Reynolds turns on the gas, ties some string to a lamp. I don't understand it exactly, but you can tell that means shit's going to blow up.
He makes her put pillows underneath the blanket so it looks like they're still in there sleeping. Then he starts doing I guess it'd be MacGyver kind of things, I guess.
Then Bones and Bama show up, and Bama, we are taking this to mean
he's got this sawed-off shotgun that we didn't mention earlier that does a lot of business. All the shooting that Bama McCall does, he does with this sawed-off shotgun. It looks like it do some damage. I mean, it does do a lot of damage.
And when Bama shows up, he says, Bones, I'm going to let you have this one.
Hands the gun over to him.
I thought was just kind of weird out of nowhere, but I think it's supposed to mean that he can't bring himself to kill Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, because he grew up with him. He knew he has to die, but he doesn't want to have to be the one to pull the trigger. So he sends Bones in there to do it. Who Bones is excited too, because
Bones is excited, and he gets blown up. The whole place goes up. I don't understand exactly.
Well,
the sequence of events.
He opens the door and it pulls the lamp off, but he has to slam the door into the wall to make the lamp come off and for it to work. And for what I don't understand, if you watch it, he opens the door, he could shoot right then. He doesn't have to do anything else. And then he slams the door against the wall for some reason. It doesn't make any sense. That would just wake whoever it is up. Maybe he wanted him to get up so they could look at him when he died or something. I don't know. But when it slams the door, lamp blows up, hits the gas. I guess he knew just how that lamp was going to fall.
There's a great overdub of Jerry Reed going, holy shit!
Yeah.
At that explosion, which is probably the most 70s redneck movie thing that happens in this.
Yeah.
Holy shit! And then some burnt lumber falls on him. He goes, ow! Those are great overdubs.
Yeah.
So Burt Reynolds sees Bama McCall, and then they have a fight across the empty boardwalk, plywood stands.
Well, I have a question about this. Why didn't Bama McCall just get back in his car and drive away? He flags down a woman in a truck.
He just took off running. I think Burt Reynolds may have been in between him and the car.
Oh, okay. That's it. So he just took off running.
I don't have a great sense of the geography of this scene.
Yeah. It seemed like you just get back in your own car, but hell, he's Bama McCall, he can do whatever he wants. Sure enough, waves his car down, get the hell out of the car, jerks a woman out, gets in that truck, revs it up. And I believe I read this, and you could look at it and see Bama Burt Reynolds himself does this stunt. He runs up and jump. I mean, the car ain't really moving, but still, he runs up and jumps in the back of that truck and gets on top of it as it drives off. Bama McCall's driving, yeah.
And this is a famous stunt that almost killed Hal Needham, stuntman Hal Needham, second unit director Hal Needham, when the truck nearly rolls over on the. Because he jumps off the truck, and when the truck lands, it nearly lands on Hal Needham.
The whole movie is worth watching just for this. Now, this is Gator stuff. There is a little bit of Gator stuff back at the end. And this stunt's one of the best stunts I ever, honestly, I've seen a lot of the car movies chase. This is one of the best ones I've ever seen. The whole movie is worth watching just for this. He looked like he just was inches away from getting smashed to death. It's a hell of a stunt. Yeah, Hal Needham, good for him, because good Lord Almighty, couldn't find me trying to do something like that.
And then they punch each other through a bunch of off-season beach shacks, hamburger shacks, dime toss shacks.
It's a good fight. Pretty good fight.
It's a really good fight, and Gator beats the shit out of Bama McCall.
Earlier in the movie, you saw boats crash into houses, and now you get to see people crash into booths. So it's similar to that, just plowing through everything.
Right before Burt Reynolds, we were trying to figure out if Burt Reynolds is supposed to have killed Bama in this, because the feds or the cops or the state police helicopter shows up right as Burt Reynolds is finishing beating the shit out of Bama McCall. And I don't know exactly what happens to him there. I don't think he kills him.
It doesn't say. We don't know.
Slamming shit on his head.
He's slamming shit. I mean, that could have ripped his head off, what he was trying to do, but it didn't.
I don't think he.
Well, we're going to think Bama McCall's still living. I'll go with you there. We don't know that he's dead, so he very well could have been living, which Gator 3 has been good. He'd come back.
So, final scene, Burt Reynolds goes to see Aggie, Maybeck, Lauren Hutton.
Yep.
And I guess her story on the Bama McCall stuff went national. Walter Cronkite introduced her. They've called her up to New York City. Burt Reynolds recognizes how much she wants this.
Going to the big time. Her dreams come true, yeah.
He says, I love you, and she says, I know. Star Wars.
Yeah, that's Indiana Jones says it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He says he wanted her to meet his daughter, and she said, maybe someday.
Yeah, but she ain't coming back. She's gone.
This is good Burt Reynolds.
Well, it is in some ways, it ain't. It is good, the fact that you're saying the woman should do, she don't need to follow you out to the swamp. She needs to go on and do what she wants to do with her life and make those choices, career choices, and that's all good.
And he recognizes it, and he does not stand in her way. He doesn't say a woman's place is in.
Nope.
Is in not up there.
He says by all means that's what you should do. Yeah, he's on board.
He does kind of cut her off when she's like, yeah. And then Walter Cronkite, and he's like, you looked wonderful.
Yeah,
but he's very supportive.
Yeah, he supports us. Yeah,
but he also, this is 100% Burt Reynolds, the self pity. He gives the woman what she wants, but as he walks away, you're supposed to feel sorry for Burt Reynolds. You're not really supposed to feel as happy for her as you're supposed to feel sorry for
Burt Reynolds. Yeah,
it is called Gator. It's not called Aggie.
That's true. And he gets in the car and drives off, and I guess they play this song. What's the song?
Bobby Goldsboro.
Yeah.
For a little while.
Yep.
And he looks over his shoulder. This movie is all about Burt Reynolds looking over his shoulder. He's either backing something up, or he's looking for cops, or he's looking back at Lauren Hutton. But it's all about him looking over his shoulder.
No actor can do that better than him. If you want to see him do it, you're going to see him do it really good in Gator. And
this is him looking back at the Burt Reynolds from Deliverance and White Lightning.
Saying goodbye.
See ya.
See you later.
I'm taking this mustache, and I'm driving straight through to Cannonball Run.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. But there's still, some people may say Gator's even better than one movie because you do kind of get two movies in it. You do. There's two movies in this one, so it may be, I definitely think it's worth sitting through and watching. It's a bit confusing. The tone changes here and there. It's supposed to be a silly comedy. Then it's supposed to be, teenage prostitution. It's supposed to be, but.
The other way of looking at it is, I get all that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I get all teenage prostitution and also Burt Reynolds running around with the cat.
So boat chases and cat back.
Yep.
And Burt Reynolds telling Lauren Hutton that he can't stand to look at her all at once because if he does, he's afraid she might disappear, and they wear a sweater together.
Yeah, I understand that.
And that's all in the same movie?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Well, it's not, all of this stuff isn't bad. It's like, oh, what happened? I don't like this. And no, it's still interesting. It's entertaining all the way through. It's just a different movie. It ain't what it started out to be. It turns into something else, and it's like, all right, I guess I'm watching this. But, there's worse stuff you can watch. Hey, thank you kindly for listening to us here on Redneck Matinee.
Whatever podcast place you're listening to this at, please give us a rating and a review.
And if you want to hear us cuss at Trump, go over to listen to us on the Red State Update podcast.
And if you really liked us, please go over to the Red State Update Patreon and give us a little jingle jangle.
Thank you kindly.